Just setting live. Awesome. Okay. Happy Monday, everyone. It is a leg day today. We're focusing on our lower body strength as well as our abs and core. So for equipment today, I am going to be using this chair. You will want a chair if you have one available that you can step up onto. This one is not ideal for that. So I'm not going to be stepping up onto it. I will show you guys the option that does not require a chair to step up onto, but something that you can step up on. We are going to be using that for the first exercise. In addition to that, dumbbells, bands, mat, you guys know the drill, your body, your enthusiasm. So let's get you guys started on the floor with this warm-up, which is going to be in our 90-90 position. So we'll get right down here, right into it, 90 degrees at both of our knees, locking the feet in place, and we will flip the legs right and left. You need to use your arms to support. That is okay, but eventually we will see if we can do this with no hands. So we'll go back and forth 10 times total. If you need to kind of readjust your legs a little bit, that's okay. Feet on the floor, or heels rather, and then maybe eventually one day your hips both will be on the floor as well. So we'll go back and forth 10 times total. Feel a little bit tight on space. I'm just going to move that stuff out of the way. Next one, we have our bow and arrow. So we're going to lay ourselves down on our side, take this top leg and weave it underneath the bottom, like so. Stack our arms and shoulders, take a deep breath in, and then exhale and cross the body, trying to get this shoulder, this hand down on the floor. If you have room over here, you can extend your arm out straight. I don't, so I'm just going to keep it bent and then reach up and over my head, reset, and do 4 more to make it 5 on this side. And then we'll do the same thing, 5 on the other side. So we're trying to move through the mid-back, lower back, your hips. We want to keep this knee down. Eventually see if we can get that shoulder down. Might not happen on those first few reps, but as you go through them with that exhale, you might be able to get a little bit closer. We will do that on both sides. So you guys can do that one side, and then we will switch. You can literally just switch sides. I'm going to flip a room so I can still see you guys here. And then we'll do the same thing over on this side here. So we're going to exhaling, crossing, we'll be closer to the wall now, so I left space. Reaching up and over our head, and doing it again. So we're going through in 5 on this side as well. This one feels so nice. All right. So once you guys are done, we will stand ourselves back up to the top. And you guys are going to get yourselves into a squat stance. So we want feet a little bit wider than our hips, toes slightly pointed out. I don't know why the Zoom makes me manually add people in. So we're in our squat stance here. We're going to sit you guys down into a squat, trying to get our hands as close to the floor as we can. Straighten out the legs, bend the legs, and then we'll stand and send those arms over our head. Now, if you can't quite get your hands close to the floor, we can either hold our shins, our heels, even our knees if we need to. Little bit of a straight, little bit of a bend, and then we'll stand and shoot those arms up over our head. So we're going through 10 of these total, trying to get that little bit of a stretch happening through the back of the legs. And I say little bit because I don't want you guys like overstretching and like really, really stretching out here. You should just feel it and then leave and then stand up to the top. We're just trying to make this one more dynamic, more about movement than anything. So we'll go through 10 of these total, reaching our arms over our head. And then we're going to get you guys going on 2 more in this warm-up before we start these exercises. So the last 2 are all about activation. You've heard this before. The first one's going to be for our glutes. The second one is for our core. So we're going to start off with the glute one, this glute loaded or hip loaded step through. So what I'm going to do is stand on one leg. I'm going to shift all of my weight onto one leg. That knee on the standing leg is going to be soft. Nice posture. We're going to hinge the hips back. So just push the hips back. And wherever this foot ends up, that's where we're going to start. We'll align opposite hands, and we should feel very loaded on this standing leg. And we'll pull our hips through. And then we'll push the hips back and really load up that hip and leg on this other side here. And then we'll pull through. And we're doing 10 of these total per side. So take it nice and slow. Yes, there's a little bit of balance involved here, but you should really feel work happening in this front standing leg here as we hinge back. We're loading, and then we use that load to pull our hips forward, and that's where we're we're gonna get that activation in that hip and that glute. And I want that for you guys, we want that for ourselves. So really try to think about it, slow down a little bit if you need to. We'll do that on both sides. So usually one side will be a lot easier to feel than the other. But try your best to keep it as even as possible. And again, don't worry too much about where that back foot is going. The most important is that we're pushing the hips back and then pulling the hips forward. Everything else just kind of flows with it. So we'll finish off 10 of those per side, and then drop back down on the floor for our last one, which is our pressure dead bug. So this one's all about the core, the abs, getting that built-in weight belt that I'm always talking about, activated and ready for these leg exercises that we're going to do. So we're gonna lay on our back here, arms up, legs up into this dead bug position. I'll take the palm of my right hand and the top of my knee of my left leg, and I will push them together as hard as I can, and that's gonna stay tight. These other two limbs will lower down, coming down to the floor. But the most important thing here is you pushing your lower back down. So we'll tighten that up first, and then we'll exhale on the way down. So inhale right here, exhale, and send those two away. And you guys will go through 10 per side. So we'll go through 10 on this side, really quality reps, and then 10 on the other side. Now, most of us are going to be good to go with a bent leg. That's going to feel a lot in our core and our abs, especially if we're pushing together here. If you do want to make it harder, you can straighten out the leg. But just keep in mind, low back, tightness, pressure between the hand and knee, very important on those ones. So, we'll do 10 and 10, and then you guys are going to stand up to the top, and we are going to get you started on this workout, since we are hopefully warm. So I've been testing all the ins and outs of this app. I'm super excited about it. I'm actually like following along with it. You guys can't really see it here today, but I have all the exercises in there. Some of them have videos, some don't, as I'm working on them. But anyways, what we're going to do here, so if you see me looking at my phone, that's why, because I'm following along the program on here. So we're going to start you guys off with step-ups. Now these step-ups today, we've been working on, again, stepping up onto something, not using too much of that back leg, kind of pushing up onto the toe and then stepping up to the top. Now, like I was saying, this chair is not the most ideal, and it's not really the most safe for it. Number one, because it's like kind of like one of those for show chairs, like it looks fancy, and it's got a very soft padded top, which makes me feel very unstable and out of balance. So I personally am going to do a lunge rather than a step up, okay? But if you have something stable like a bench or an actual step or a stool or something that you can step up onto, that's how I want you guys to do this. So what we're doing today is 8 reps per side, which is not a lot of reps. If you ask me, you know it's not. So what we're going to focus on today is a 4-second tempo on the way down. So that's going to go for both of these, whether you're doing the lunge or the step up. I suggest you guys start body weight, and let's start this up. So what you're going to do on the step up is just get yourself up to the top, and then we're going to lower ourselves down 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll stand up to the top. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll come up to the top. So I'll get you guys starting off thinking about this tempo, regardless if you're lunging or if you're actually stepping up. We want to really slow down the way down. We're doing 8 reps. We'll do 8 on one side and then 8 on the other. So this time, don't worry too much about how you get up to the top. If you need to use a little bit of help from that bottom leg, that's fine. But keep in mind that that will make it a little bit easier. If you guys watch me on these lunges here, I'm essentially doing kind of like a skater squat. I'm letting myself down, and I'm not really using my back leg at all. That's because I'm going to keep this body weight today, just to get focused on this slow tempo. So these are all options on what you can do. We'll go through 8 and 8, and we are going to pair this with a squat. Woo! This tiny little writing here, it doesn't tell me how many reps. You know, I kind of know. Yes. We're doing 8. Okay, so we'll go through 8 and 8, in lower rep range, trying to make those really challenging. And if you're going slow like that, it should be hard regardless. So right when we're done those step-ups, we're going to go into a front-loaded goblet squat, where we're going to spend that same 4 seconds, rather than going down with the 4, we're going to spend the 4 at the very bottom of the rep. So we'll load up our weights. If you guys don't have weights, you can band around your knees or just work body weight if you want. We're going to sit down and hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll stand up. That was a very generous 4 seconds, but hopefully yours is as honest as possible. 3, 4, and that's 2 reps, and we're going through 8 total. So we go down normal. We don't have to take our time going down, but we are going to spend 4 full seconds down here before we push up to the top. And so that's regardless if you're using dumbbells, no dumbbells, band around your knees, same rules apply. We'll sit down here for 4 seconds and then stand up. Okay, not a 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I know it's just, sometimes it's just hard to count honestly on these pauses, but just remember, you only have to do 8 of them. So 8 reps total. And once you're done, we get some rest, okay? Because these 2 exercises together, we're working similar stuff. We got pretty much the whole leg working on both these. So we're going to take about 30 seconds. You guys can just grab some water, a couple deep breaths, and we'll get ourselves going through 3 more sets of this. So we're going back into our step up / step down. Sometimes I do this when you're working with like a slow tempo on the way down. I refer to them as step downs rather than step ups, because essentially what you're doing is you're slowing the down phase down. So we're going to try our best to do the same thing that we did on that first set through 3 more of them. We'll make it a same level challenge, same intensity. But if you found that it was a little bit easy on that first set, then maybe you want to make it a little bit harder, because we want to keep in mind that we do not want more than 8 reps, okay? We only want 8. So when you're feeling ready, which is hopefully the next 10 seconds or so, because here's 30 seconds is up, we'll start our second set here, going back into this first one, then 4 seconds on the way down, and then standing up to the top. And keep in mind, if you want to add weight, feel free to add weight, okay? But you have to make sure that you're still controlling that tempo. So maybe instead I would add weight on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I would do it more like a normal lunge rather than like that skater squat that I was doing before, because that is very challenging with weights. So you can kind of customize it as needed. Okay, so second round, you guys. 8 and 8 with that nice slow 4 second tempo. I know, that's the hard part, the way down. You not just like falling down out of that step up, but that's where that's going to get you stronger. Is if you can control that way down, you're working your muscles, you're making them, you're exposing them to that feeling, and so we're going to get stronger from doing that. So we'll try to keep it slow on the way down. So right when you guys are done, then we're going into our second set of those squats. Now these ones, because they do take so long for each rep, again, sometimes people struggle to count, and I understand that, okay? I know. So rather than counting, sometimes what I'll suggest to people is to breathe instead of actually count the reps. So 4 seconds is about 2 controlled breaths, like inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So if that's something you want to do instead, rather than counting to 4, then you can do that. It might help you stay a little bit stronger through the set. So again, we can sit down and inhale. And then you can stand up on that second exhale. And if you take your time with that breathing, it's about 4 seconds. And again, it just might help you get through that set a little bit stronger than you counting. Or you might actually hold it a little bit longer if you are a fast counter, because I know some of us are out there. I used to be like that, but now I have changed. I like doing stuff slow and really feeling all this stuff, so which is why maybe we always do it. But it makes a huge difference, especially if you don't have access to a lot of different equipment or a lot of weights. So once you guys are done your squats, then we will take a little bit of rest. And that is because we want to go into our third set strong. And if we were to go right after our squats, right into those step ups, we would most likely be feeling a little bit exhausted and tired in our legs, if you're doing these properly and really focusing on your technique here. So we'll take about 30 seconds, and then we will go into a third set. You guys have 2 more to go through. Starting with this first one. Oh, I see. All right. So we'll get you guys going on set number 3. We have lots of time. You guys have about 4 minutes to finish up this set and 1 more, which is actually just enough time. So let's get you started on set 3 if you have not already. Going back to the first one, there's 4-second down tempo step ups, step downs. Let's do it. Nice work, you guys. All right, 8 and 8. Ooh-wee, those ones are much harder than they look. I know. I know, especially if you don't really do them like that often. That makes a huge difference. So we'll go right into these pause squats. Again, we sit down, just take 1 second down or 2 seconds down. You don't have to go slow and low down. And then we'll spend all this 4 seconds at the bottom of the rep. And I want you guys thinking about staying active at the bottom of that rep. Sometimes when we like pause and hold in places, we just kind of let go and we just hold. Hopefully you're not doing this down here because this is way too low. And so that's usually something that happens is we sit too low. If we're at 90 degrees here, we can stay tight in all of our lower body muscles, even above 90 degrees. But anything lower than that, I'm just going to lose it because it's too low for my body to be able to maintain that tension. So we'll find it and really think about pushing out our knees and holding it in that tension for the 4. And then standing up and using all that to stand up. Okay, so we'll try to take that into our final set because you guys have 1 more to do. And you have about 2 minutes to get it done. So we can take a little bit of rest in that 30 seconds and then we will get going onto our last set. Yay! Good job, you guys. Ooh-wee. Okay. Oh, the step ups, step downs. Let's get them in. Last set of them, 8 and 8. I'm going to make them as challenging as possible. And that really comes down to you being conscious and really connecting your mind to your leg muscles and feeling all that down there. Okay. Perfect. So, you guys, oh, I see. I've been spending like all my time just like flipping through. I put my workouts into the app. It's really cool. I'm super excited to show it to you guys, but we are not quite there yet. All right, so once you guys are done that, we're gonna go again through our final set of squats with the hold at the bottom. Last set of those ones, okay? And then we are going to move on to the next part where we have 2 new exercises, although they are not new. We've been here before, but they are new for today's workout. So take your time, you guys. Give you about 1 more full minute to finish up here. And how are we doing? Oh, yes. Good job, you guys. Okay, so once you're done, you can grab yourself some water, walk it up, check it out, and get yourself set up to do some split squats with the rear foot elevated and some hip thrusts with our upper back elevated. So for those 2 exercises, you guys will need a chair, preferably something now with a soft top. So if you're using like a hard chair for that last part there. You can either put like a towel down or a cushion, maybe a towel if you're a little bit sweaty, or I have a wonderful option that is off of the floor, or you can use either a stool or something if you don't have something like this, okay? So we're going to go through 4 sets total of the following, and I'm telling you that right away because all of these sets are going to count. Sometimes I throw in a little sneaky warm-up set. We're going to go right into the full-on thing here where we're going to have a front or a single side loaded weight. So I'm going to have both of my weights on one side. If you guys do not have dumbbells, we're going to use our resistance bands looped around our opposite feet like this. And so we'll set ourselves up. If you need to kind of test out your positioning first, elevate that back foot here. We want to sit down and have 90 degrees at both of our knees. So I'm just a little bit too close. So I'm going to step down and just move my foot away slightly so that I have my back foot up on here and I sink down and I have 90 degrees at both of my knees, and then I'll stand up to the top. So we're going normal tempo, 1, 2, 1, 2, and you guys are working with 12 reps per side. So 1, 2, 1, 2. No time at the bottom, you're welcome. No slow on the way down, just normal tempo, 2 seconds, 2 seconds. So you guys start your first set right now, and if you're using bands, you can have band around opposite foot like this. And those of you who do not have the chair, you can have our foot on the floor like so, or you can even elevate into a stair or a stool to get that little bit of elevation, which helps us target more of the glute on the front leg. Your glutes. Okay, we'll do this on both sides, 12 and 12. So when you switch the sides, switch the weights, you have that one side loaded weight, which helps us work our core a little bit more, which we'll talk about in the next few sets. So once you guys are done, we are going to pair the hip thrust. So today, for your guys' hip thrust, we're same idea, going normal tempo. We're doing 12 reps total, same amount of reps as our split squats here. But these ones really are going to, how you do them, it's going to come down to you. Because the most important thing here is that we feel our glutes on these hip thrusts. So what I'm going to do is add my 2 dumbbells onto my hips, which will start off up here. If you don't have a chair, something like this, you're going to be on the floor, laying on your back, following along. If you want, you can also or add bands around your knees. So if you don't have the weights, you can add the bands, or if you want to have the weights and the bands, it's going to make it harder because we have that resistance around the knees. So I'm going to lower myself down, so my upper back is on my chair, on my bench, and then I'll just align my weights so that they're comfortable, my hips, as comfortable as they can be. 90 degrees at the knee, we'll push up to the top, and again, we want to feel our butt, okay? So do not leave here till you feel some stuff going on back there. And then we go down, and then exhale and push up. Now, we don't want to go so low that our knees start to rock back. We'll stop before that happens, and we'll push all the way up, really trying to bring our ribs and pelvis together, almost doing a bit of a crunch, and we're doing 12 reps. So if you're feeling this, if you feel it, you don't have to pause, okay? You can just go through your reps, count out all 12 and be done with it. But if you aren't feeling it back here, well, then you're not getting a lot out of this, okay? So maybe we want to hold here and just close your eyes and just think about it. And then you'll go down and just think about it. Oftentimes, I've explained to you guys how we can kind of progressively do that. So you start off holding for, maybe 5 seconds or something, doesn't even have to be the amount of time. And then each rep, you hold it a little bit less because you don't have to hold it as long because you feel it right away in your heart because you've already thought about it. So that is our pairing here, you guys. Woo! So between these exercises, we do have about 30 seconds of rest. For some of us, we might not need to take that rest. If you finish your hip thrust and you feel a little bit antsy, you can start your next set here, but maybe you'll just want to make it a little bit harder so that you do not feel so antsy on your 3rd and 4th set. Because we want to feel like we need this rest. We want to make these reps so challenging that we actually have to just kind of breathe and shake it out for a second. Okay, so when you're feeling ready, we will go back into our split squats. And we have the weight loaded on the opposite side that we're standing. So if this leg is up, I'm going to hold the weight on that side there. And then you'll go through your split squats, going through 12 per side. So we'll get you guys going on 90 degrees, trying to keep all of the weight in this front leg here. And yes, again, 90 degrees is the goal. So sitting down to here is the goal. If you have some stuff going on your knee, maybe you don't sit so low. And maybe you focus on like pushing your hips back more, which is gonna help take some stress off of here. And same idea, we don't need anything lower than 90 because that's just putting us in an overstretched position on the other leg here. So just 90. Oh, and you're gonna feel it if you think about it. So we'll get you guys finishing your second set here. Awesome. Good job, you guys. Nice work. So we have our right side, left side, and all these same rules apply if you don't have something to elevate your back foot. Same thing, we'll dip down to 90 degrees, keep the weight in the front leg, and you'll go through that single-sided holding of the weight. 12 burning reps. Ouch. All right. So right away we get into our hip thrust. So you're gonna load up your weights on your hips, whatever you guys got going on here. And before we go anywhere, we do that slight crunch here so that we get that strong pelvic tilt happening in our hips. Okay, so even with body weight, like this should be challenging because you're thinking about it and you're really focusing on squeezing your butt. Sometimes it helps to push the knees out slightly. That helps us to have that little external rotation on the hip. If you're still not feeling it, if you have a band, put that band around your knees. And that helps a lot to make us just overall feel this more, which is what I want for you guys. So we'll rest a little. We have 2 more sets. Yay! And then I believe we have 3 of the last one. Yes. 3. Okay. Got like this little bit of light coming in here. It's so sunny out today. Okay. So again, once you guys are done your hip thrusts, same idea here. You do have technically about 30 seconds of rest, which we should feel like we need. And then we have 2 more sets to go through. So you actually probably start your 3rd one. That's okay. If you haven't already, we will think about starting it soon. Back to split squats. So another thing that sometimes happens in our split squats, and this is for those of you who are prone to lower back pain, maybe you have a sensitive lower back, that arching that happens that I always talk about in our hip thrusts, it can happen up here too. And so if you're doing this, we have this nice high chest because you want to think your posture is good, but now we've kind of put ourselves into this back rounded position here. And then we go through, when we finish our set, and you're going to feel like your lower back is just worked and jacked up in the worst way. If that ever happens to you, okay, maybe it won't happen right now, but you might channel this later on in life and think about this. We want to think about activating your core. And so same rules apply as on the hip thrust. We want to bring the ribs and pelvis together, which is going to flatten out our back. And that way when we go down and up, you guys can see I'm much more straight and neutral through here. And I'm using my core muscles rather than just letting it all hang out and then ending up with a sore lower back. So if that's ever happening to you, or maybe you just want more core work, that's something that you need to think about. It doesn't just happen most of the time. It's just that bit of a crunch, and then you can start your set. All right, let's do it. So, 3rd set. There's one more. Woo! Burning legs. We are so good for time. We have about 3 minutes. Yes, until we should be done this part. We're done. All right, so final set coming up after this one, you guys. Same idea. We'll take a little bit of rest. We'll go into our final round. Nice and strong. Getting the most out of these. 12 and 12. We got it. Good work, you guys. So we'll take a couple deep breaths, a couple sips of water. When you are ready, let's do this. We're gonna get going on to our final set here. Back to this first one, the split squats. It's your last set of them today and for the week. So yay us. So again, split crunch with the core, and then we'll go through our set. See how that feels. You're gonna feel probably a lot more strong, a lot more stable through here. Through the core. It also might feel a little bit harder because now you're just having to think about more stuff, which is good. All right, so final set, you guys, 12 and 12. This is it on these ones. So we'll get it going on here and going through your reps, trying to keep it even on both sides, and then finishing off your final set of those hip thrusts, hip bridges. You guys are on the floor. Same rules apply down here. You will be more conscious thinking about it. And we'll go through our set of 12 to finish us off. Woo! So we can start the next part. 12, the last part of the leg strength. And then it is core time. And yeah. Okay. So, good job, you guys. Take time with it. Once you're done, you can grab yourself some water. Walk it off. We are going to move on in about 1 minute. So if you're not done yet, hopefully you will finish within the next minute. So we are going to move on to the next part here, which will still potentially need this chair. What we're going to do is be working off of a timer. Yay! So you guys are going to be working 45 seconds on, 15 seconds off. We have 3 exercises that we're going to do. One of them is standing, and then 2 of them are down on the floor. And the standing one is actually a double-sided one. You know, there's lots of stuff going on here. So I'm going to set my timer here and make sure it's set. Set 4 should still be set. Yep. So for 45 seconds, you guys, we are going to spend that doing side lunges on one leg. So I'm going to step out to the side and then up to the top, driving up this knee, and then out to the side, up to the top, driving up this knee. So we'll be going 45 seconds over here. You have the option to add your resistance, your weight, but I want you guys to maybe start off body weight on this one, because this one might creep up on you. So this is the first one. We have 45 seconds on one side, 15-second transition time, and then 45 on the other. And then the other 2 I will show you guys on this timer. Okay, they're down on the floor. Are you ready? Starting in 3, 2, 1, and here we go. And no beep, because my phone was on silent, but that's okay. So as we step out into the side lunge, I want you guys focusing on pushing the hips back rather than pushing your body down. So we want the hips driving back to the side. And then at the top, we can think about driving up this knee. It's going to give us that little balance action. And it's not completely necessary, so if you are kind of already falling over, then do touch your foot down so that you don't fully fall over. So we're working with this one side. Arms are sent in front of us as we go down. And we're going through 10 more seconds over here. There we go. I'm going to turn my phone off silent here. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Why is it not beeping for us? Rest, you guys, nice work. Maybe it will on this one. I don't like when it does this. Okay, so we're breathing. We're just remembering what leg we just did, because we got to do the other one. So I was over here, and here we go. So the timer has started. We will start the second side here. Again, stepping out into that side lunge, driving up that knee at the top, and we'll get you guys going through this for 30 more seconds. I think I know why, because it was connected to my Bluetooth. I get it now. All the things to think about. Okay. So your depth depends on your mobility and depends on your body. Okay, 90 degrees is the goal, unless you have some pre-existing knee stuff going on. Then maybe, again, you want to sit above 90 and just work with whatever you're comfortable with, okay? So we'll go through this, a couple more over here. Let's see if this works. 3, 2, 1. There's that beat. All right, you guys, so we're down on our backs on the floor for the next one. So we have 2 exercises down here in this bridging position. First thing we want to do is squish our lower back into the floor. Arms are going to reach down. We should be able to feel our heels with a bit of a reach. We'll push up into that bridge position. And for the first 45 seconds, we're going to lift one leg up at a time, trying to keep our hips as stable as possible. So we're tapping into our core, trying to tighten this up so that our hips don't tilt and shift. We want to keep them still. So first set here, I had you guys all start down on the floor. So you can work with this down here. If you want to make this a little bit more challenging on the next set, we can do this off of our chair or our bench if you like. I'm going to kick it down here on the floor though, because this is this one's going to be pretty hard, because from here, rest. You guys can relax your hips. For the next 45 seconds, we're going to push our hips up and simply just hold them. Okay, and just hold the bridge. Just think about what's going on back there, and then we'll get up and do this again. You guys ready? Set. Here we go. So we'll push up, and we're going to just hold. So you can close your eyes. If you want to get a little bit more core, you can lift up your arms, pulling your belly button into your spine, really forcing that pelvic tilt, and we'll squeeze our butt. And we'll just hold. And you're just thinking about what's going on back here in your glutes. Okay, just breathing through this, trying to push them up as high as you can the entire time. Don't let them fall. Drive them up. Okay, you should feel fire going on. 15 seconds left. Woo! You guys got this. Okay, breathe through it. Let you with those. 5, 4, 3, 2, and rest. Nice work, you guys. Okay, so we can get ourselves back up off the floor as it's part of the workout. Starting our second set, you guys are doing 3 total. Okay, so we're back to this first one, these side lunges. So we've done side lunges. We've been working on this side lunge movement for a while now. We've done lots of different versions. I'd say this step out one is the hardest to find form because we're kind of moving the position every rep. So remember that we want to push the hips back. We should be feeling a little bit of a stretch here. But if it's uncomfortable, woo, you can try stepping out a little bit wider, a little bit more narrow, or adding an angle into your feet. Maybe pointing your toes slightly out to the side. So we have 15 seconds left for you guys to work through this and listen to my brother's diesel truck. I don't know if you can hear it outside, it's so loud. Hopefully not. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Nice work, you guys. Okay, so we're just breathing here, thinking about how that felt. Again, I cannot stress enough, you guys, if you are uncomfortable in these, if they don't feel good, let's try our best to make them comfortable. We shouldn't be like forcing ourselves into that position. It should flow and feel good. It can be challenging, but we shouldn't feel like we're overstretching anything or pinching in our hips or anything like that. So again, sometimes hips back, or maybe angling the toes, both those things will help. All right, let's go. We got 20 seconds left. So we'll take our time with this one and really driving back our hips. We got this. So we get a little sneaky mobility, a bit of a stretch through that inner thigh. 5 seconds. Last one. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Nice job, you guys. Okay, get down on the floor. So yeah, it's pretty hard on our back on the floor. Okay, but if some of you want to try something more challenging, remember you only have 2 more sets, we can do this up here, and it's going to make it a lot more challenging to do both of these because we're in a higher up position than on the floor, and it's more demanding on these guys back here. So we'll work through either or. You guys have 30 more seconds left. Ooh, blinded by that sunshine. I love it though. So we'll again try to control the dip in your hips. Before you lift the leg, try to stabilize and then lift so that you don't end up having that hip fall. We're getting a lot of core work here, but it's like that sneaky core work, that not like direct ab work. But you got to think about it to keep those hips stable. A couple more. 3, 2, 1, and rest. You can relax your hips, and I lay down in the same right abs position. So the last one, we have 1 more set after this. is this bridging hold. So we'll squish our back down. If you need to check, try to fit your hand under there. You shouldn't be able to. Arms down. Now we'll exhale, push those hips up. And the entire time, I want you fighting gravity with your hips. Okay, thinking about pushing them up. Gravity wants them down, but you're driving them up. Not just pushing them up, though, you're also doing this pelvic tilt. So you want the bottom of the pelvis to come up to your head. So you want to tilt the pelvis under. And if you do that, try it. Okay, you're going to feel it a lot more. If you want to lift your arms up, makes it a little bit more challenging. And we are breathing. You guys have 10 seconds left. Stay with us. Come on now. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Okay. Nice job, you guys. Here we are. The last set. Yay. Okay. So final set. And then we are down on the floor. Core and abs to the end. All right. Let's do it. Step out, side lunge. Last set. Our body knows what's going on now, so we'll see if we can tap into this balance, trying to drive that leg up at the top, and drive the hips back so that you guys get that balance work, that work in your hip. You can keep your arms in front of you. If you want to bring them down at the top, whatever floats your boat. Okay, let's just keep moving here for 15 seconds. The side lunges. Nice job, you guys. A few more of them. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Good job. Okay. So you can switch sides. Remember what side you got to do. I'm going to get you started on it in 5 seconds. Take a deep breath. Ready? Set. And here we go. Let's do it. Last set of them. So we're trying to power ourselves up. There's too much power so that we are strong at the top here and try our best to find our balance at the top. We don't just fall out of it. I know that's easier said than done. There you go. 20 seconds left, my friends. We got this. So really good one. Again, we're getting that strength of your legs, that lateral strength. It's very real life stuff we have to do, sometimes pushing off from weird angles. We also get that little bit of mobility stretching happening in your inner thighs. 3, 2, 1, rest. Okay, get down there, you guys. This is it. The last 2 down on the floor, and then we are down on the floor. We stay down there. So I guess you are down on the floor to stay after these 2. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Lift up your hips. One leg at a time. Marches right and left. Now with this one, if you want to make this a little bit easier, you can walk your feet closer together. So they're even almost touching. That's going to make your base of support a little bit more close. And it makes it a lot easier to keep those hips stable. On the flip side, if I have my feet wider, you're going to feel a lot more core work throughout here to lift up these legs. So if you want to try that out on the last set, you guys have 15 seconds left. Woo! To do it up. Doing it up. Let's go. Bridge walks. Another unsuspectingly hard one. And relax your hips. Good job, you guys, with the last one. The bridge hold. And then we are working on our core, on our abs. Yay. All right, you ready? Bridge hold. Push your back down. And exhale, drive your hips up. Here we go. The entire time, I want you thinking about every breath. So inhale, and then exhale, and squeeze your butt. Okay, every exhale. Try to make it a stronger one than the last one. Inhale, exhale, squeeze. Drive your hips up. Do that pelvic tilt. Do something to make you really feel your backside. So we'll go through again, trying to push the knees out to the sides helps. Driving your hips up. We have 15 seconds left, my friends. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Yes. 3, 2, 1, and time. You guys are done that. Okay, so we are officially done the leg strength. We have our last part, which is core, and it takes us about 8 minutes. So it's not the longest circuit in the world. So if you guys would like right now, you could stand up. If you want to grab some water, walk it off. We're going to take about 1 minute before we start our next part. If you want to just hang out on the floor here, you can as well. That's totally fine. I am going to explain what's happening next here. Let me just pull up my official fancy app. Okay, so we have 3 exercises going on here. 30 seconds on each of these. So we're going to do 30 seconds of the first one, 30 seconds of the second one, 30 seconds of the last one, and then a 30-second rest period. And that is 1 round. It takes us 2 minutes. We are doing 4 rounds total. So that's where that 8 minutes came from. So you guys are going to be working with these 2 on your back to start. And then the last one, we need a quick transition into a plank position because we don't have any rest in between these rounds. It's just going to be every 30 seconds. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to show you guys all 3 of these movements, okay, because again, this is very fast paced and we want all of these reps, all of the rounds to count. So the first one rather, is going to be our knee to elbow crunches. So this is one we incorporated last week with our arms behind our head, fingertips supporting our neck, lower back squished into the floor, 90 degrees at our knees. We'll lower our heels down so that we're challenged. Lower back should still stay tight. And then we'll exhale and crunch and bringing these 2 together as close as possible. So we don't have to touch, but if we do, it's going to make it a little bit more hard, okay? So this is going to be the first one. Then you could not go so low. You could not move your legs at all. We'll talk about all sorts of ways to kind of make it harder or easier as we go. That's number 1. Okay, number 2, legs up, arms up, straight arms. Ooh, second variation of a crunch. So we're really going to tap into that core strength. We're getting a little bit more work in the neck on this one. 30 seconds, okay? Last one, we're going to have a quick flipperoo into a plank position. Now, for some of us, 30-second plank hold after all that stuff is going to be really hard, all right? For others, it might not be so hard. So if you're feeling like it's not that challenging, you're going to do a long lever plank instead. And just walk your feet, back away from their original spot, okay? So this is the plank, and this is the long lever plank, and it's a lot harder back there, okay? So hopefully that all got in there. We're going to do this up 30 seconds on each of these, 4 rounds total, and you guys are free to go, okay? Hopefully we are ready. I am not ready. My timer is not set. Okay, but it will be. So you guys are on your back. You ready? Starting in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So we're on our back, working with that first one, that elbows and knees crunches. So again, some of us might not be able to touch ever just because of the way our bodies go, the length of our legs, the length of our arms. So don't stress about that. Stress more about squishing your back down and having your shoulder blades leave the floor every rep. So we want the shoulders to leave. We have that support for the neck. Okay, and then if you want to make it a little bit more, add the legs. So right away, legs up, arms, and here we go. Again, no rest in between. Just that 30 seconds at the very end. So we're breathing through this, exhaling every time we come up. Same thing, shoulders should leave the floor. And if you're feeling too much tension in your neck, you can put it down between each rep like this. Or you can always, again, give yourself a bit of that support. And quick transition. Here we go. So we're holding this plank. And if you want to make it harder, walk away from the elbows. And we are hanging out here for 15 more seconds, you guys. So stay right here, breathing into this. Straightening out the legs. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, 30 seconds of rest. Don't go too far though, because we gotta do it again. Gaze. We're going through 3 more sets of this core work, this ab work, and it starts again in 15 seconds. So take a couple deep breaths, you guys. We are back to that first one, that knee elbow crunch. So we'll lift those arms up, whoop, support the back of the head, legs up, and here we go. So we're going through this, again, trying to use our exhale on the way up. Those of you who are feeling a lot in your hips, you can just think about keeping the legs more still, which will typically make us not feel as much in the hips, and just focus more on squishing your back down and getting your shoulder blades to leave. And legs up. You guys got it. Right into this next one, where we're trying to make contact with our fingertips and our toes. Now, we definitely don't have to touch again. Some of us, that will never happen. But if you can do that, and make it happen. If you can't quite, I'm pretty close. We want our legs to be straight. Okay, so if your legs, you can't straighten them, you can kind of lower them down a little bit if you need to. If that's really not happening, a slight bend is not going to kill us, okay? As long as you keep those shoulder blades moving and flip around. Good job, you guys. So try to hustle into this plank position where we are holding strong as we can for 15 more seconds. Yes. Nice work, you guys. Breathe. Ooh, a 30-second plank was so hard. And rest. Nice job. Okay. Whew. So we have 2 more sets. And then we are done for the day. Woo! So just take our deep breaths for now. Get ourselves mentally ready to do this 2 more times. Okay, starting here. 3rd set in less than 10 seconds. So we'll get on our back. If you're not already, flip around. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and here we go. So then back into the floor. Super important. When you're crunching up as well, you can think about forcing your back down more to get more work through that, through your core, through your ab muscles. 15 seconds left. You guys are on this. Breathing. This first one, definitely not as hard as the second, maybe. All right, 3, 2, and straighten out those legs. Arms are straight. Reach them behind your head. Exhale, crunch up off the floor. I'm trying to get that work through our core, of course, our neck a little bit, because we're not supporting the neck. 15 seconds left. Ooh, it burns. So this is where you're really going to start to feel all of this in here, so much that you might even start to feel your lower back. Okay, keep going, you guys. Try to breathe through it. 3, 2, and switcheroo, flipperoo onto your plank position. Let's go right away. It's already started. So if you're starting to feel your lower back, it's completely okay as long as it's that dull, aching sensation that kind of builds up and builds up as you go through the time, through the sets. If it's that sharp, stabby, pinchy pain, I want you to stop, okay, and not do that. Find something that does not cause that, okay? But the dull pain, we can work through that. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Nice work, you guys. Okay, 30 seconds of rest. Last set. So yes, last set, you most likely might feel again that same kind of back pain sensation that I'm talking about. As long as it's the right kind of back pain, then it's okay to work through it. And that happens because when we ask our abs and our core muscles to do so much work, they tend, just like all other muscles, to reach out to the opposing muscles to help them out. So because we're doing all this ab work, we start to feel our lower back. It's just because we're doing so much core work here. So we'll get you guys going on last set. That was the starting beat. Let's do it up. So we'll go through this as controlled as we can. Final set here. Again, through breathing, exhaling through all of those reps. Woo! You got like 2 more. So just make them count, nice and strong. 3, 2, 1. Legs up and right into these guys. So I'm trying to keep my arms straight. Reach them behind my head and touch the floor, so I'm opening up my front side, and then exhale, crunch up, and really feel my abs and core working to get my shoulder blades off the floor. Give me like 2 more. Come on. Last one. 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay, so you guys are doing a quick flip transition time into your plank hold, where you are going to be planking until the end. This is your guys' last one. Yay! So let's do it. Now, you have 10 seconds left. I'm going to leave this clock running. So if any of you want to go with a bang and hold through the last 30 seconds of rest, the option's open. Okay? Ready? Here we go. If you want to hold it, you can keep holding it here. Finish yourself off with a nice minute-long plank. You don't have to, though. If you guys are done, and just breathe. Maybe go into a little bit of this stretching here, sitting on your heels. Okay, we got 15 seconds left here. You guys are challenging yourself to that last minute plank. Woo, you are almost there. 5, 4, 3, 2, and now we are so very done, you guys. Yay, we've got this like blue glow from the sun. Okay, so we're gonna go into a couple stretches here. Since we're already down in this position, we can do this cat-cow one. Round our back up and arch it down. We can do this a couple times to help loosen up your lower back, your abs, your core. And then again, when you're ready to sit on those heels, walk your hands away from the body. Stretch out that back of your hips. Oh, it feels so nice. So we did so much work for our legs and our hips, specifically the back of our hips. So most importantly, you guys, that lower back stretch is definitely a good one to do. But most importantly, we want to stretch out our glutes, the back of our legs. So if you're going to do any stretch, I would suggest to do this one for the back of the legs, like this. You can do it with your foot here. And if you want that deeper stretch, we'll pull it in. You guys can hold this for 60 seconds per side. So spend a minute per side. And feel free to do more than one set. So you guys know that does always help us improve our flexibility more than just one set. Do 2 or 3. So we'll breathe into this stretch. I'll let you guys hold this one on your own today, but I want to emphasize that this one is super important to you, so please do it. Anything else? Hip flexors are another one that I would highly suggest that you guys stretch out. This one here, where we take this knee, stretch out the hip flexor with that pelvic tilt, especially because of all of the work that we did for our hips through the core work and through the leg work there. So the glute stretch, the hip stretch, lower back, anything else that you guys want to do, please feel free to throw it in. Now is the perfect time to do it. You're nice and warm and worked. So yes, please take your time. If you want to even set a timer for yourself to hold these stretches. But you guys are done with me. My blurry camera here. Thank you, Bobby. I see you waving to me. Rock. And if you're watching the replay, you guys, please drop a comment so I know you were here. I will see you guys tomorrow for upper body, and I hope you guys all have a great day. Bye.